Happy Thanksgiving Eve. It is a season of gratitude. I am going to share with you today about how the divine worked in my life over the last 24 hours, how the divine opened my heart, and how I had really nothing to do with it except just show up as me. Hi, my name is Patty, and I'm here to help and support people through their spiritual journey. And sometimes it's crazy, and yesterday was one of those days. So listen up as I share the story of grace. I got a phone call early yesterday morning from a friend of mine who we've been sharing our journey for the last 9 years or so in a 12-step recovery program. And we both cannot stand people giving us advice, telling us what to do, how to live. We just shun it. We're like, we don't want people fixing us. We just want to be able to be ourselves without you interfering. And it's a fine line to walk. So the story goes like this. Her mother, her stepmother, my friend's stepmother, is a narcissist, plain and simple. She's abusive. She's emotionally abusive. She violates her boundaries. And my friend complains about her a lot. And then I would say something like, this is the price you are paying to get your inheritance, because she's staying in this relationship so she could get this inheritance. And it's a big inheritance, and she had to be willing to get to the point where it wasn't worth it anymore. So she called me to tell me she was done. She can't do this anymore. She can't contort herself anymore in order to get to that place. And I felt, oh my God, I can't tell you what I felt, because in that moment when she said contort, I went to the moment. I went to that moment where I was done contorting with my ex-husband. I was wanting so much from him that he was incapable of giving. And I remember that moment when I was done, that I had paid such a huge price for what? And I could not make that up. And so I remembered that, and I just opened my heart that I was able to help someone in a way that I least expected. But something else happened that day. Something else happened yesterday in which I received a phone call about a child, a 12-year-old, who was killed in a bicycle accident, run over by a truck. And I felt the pain and the grief and the sadness of that little boy's family, parents, friends, playmates, everybody. And then I was taken back to my husband, my ex-husband, where he could not give me what he wanted because he was in so much grief, because he too had lost his son in a bicycle accident, and he had all this grief, this shame, and this blame. He would tell me, his father-in-law would tell me, that during the funeral, everybody came up to him, many members of his family, blaming him for the death of his child. And I thought I could heal that, and I could not. I could not heal that because he had to process his own grief. And that grief just spilled over. That wall of his inability to give spilled over to everyone around him. And it was so difficult to handle. And I was able to finally say I was done, but also to be able to hold space now, however many years later it's been, that his pain was just so great that he could not feel it, and he had a wall around him, and that it was not my job to heal him. It was my job. It wasn't my job to do anything. I share this with you because The divine worked through me in a way that I could not have gotten to the grief and shame that I held in my heart and the wall that I built around me because I didn't want anybody in. I didn't want anybody fixing me. But really what I needed to do was feel the pain, to feel the loss. And I, like many of you, have had so much pain and so much loss. And it is a part of life. One of my teachers talks about the vicissitudes of life. We do not know what's going to come into our lives, what's going to end parts of our lives. And we transition through these endings for new beginnings. But we need a period of time, even if it's a lifetime of grief, a lifetime of loving that which we used to have, but we no longer have. And it is up to us to feel that grief and not spill it out on everyone else. And it's so hard. I know, because I have used everything in my power not to feel. I've used other people. I've used drugs and alcohol and sex and relationships to stop the pain. And the only way through pain is to experience it and to feel it, because that's what life is. But you will get through it, and you will be loved through it. And the divine worked through me in ways that I least expected yesterday by showing me that my experience was worth it, that I was able to help someone with my experience, and that I was able to have compassion for my ex-husband who couldn't give me love because he was in so much pain. And I was able to open my heart to the loved ones around me who had such a tremendous loss, because I know what that feels like. And I could hold them in love without having to change a damn thing about them. This life is a journey. It's a spiritual journey, because we are spiritual beings inhabiting this human form. And we are an expression of God in all of our ways. And if we can find those loving parts of us, if we can find those parts of us who can have compassion for those who are going through such hard times, that's what Thanksgiving is about. It's about giving thanks and gratitude for everything that we have in our life, because this life is so short. So that's how the divine worked in me. How does the divine work in you? Pay attention to the signs and be plugged in to the divine. And if you can get to the place of gratitude where you are crying, you're in the right place. I love you. If you like this kind of content, please like, subscribe, and share with somebody who may benefit. I love you. And have a beautiful Thanksgiving.